story was sent by Joseph Robinson and took place in 2017. He had just moved into his first apartment after moving out of his parents' house. It was an old two-story home built in the 1930s and had been converted into 3 units with 2 downstairs units and 1 upstairs unit. Joe was in the upstairs unit, which was a decent-sized 2-bedroom with a large kitchen and a pantry. He lived with his German Shepherd at the time. Only one of the bottom units was rented out, and he knew this because there was a car parked under one of the 3 spaces in the back of the building. That was the only way he could know someone was there, as they never left the house. Joe knew this because he worked from home most days and did event photography at a local theater at night. Throughout the day, Joe never saw anyone leave the bottom unit, but he knew someone was there because he could hear the sounds of someone walking around and talking. After living there for almost 3 weeks, Joe started to notice strange things, like rustling in the living room walls and a thumping coming from the guest room. If he left the house, he would come back to find things moved around and sometimes missing. He had the management company change all the locks, but even after this, these strange things continued. One night, the theater was closed for repairs, so Joe didn't leave the house. Joe's brother needed to borrow his car as his was in the shop. The house was about a 10-minute walk from the downtown car garage where his brother had just left his car, so Joe's brother just walked over to borrow his car. The two caught up a bit, and then he took Joe's car to do whatever he needed to do. Joe stayed inside for the rest of the day and caught up on some editing he had been putting off. Around 9:30 p.m., he started to hear a voice downstairs leading to the front door. The way the house was set up, there was a door that led outside, a little entryway with a staircase that led to the actual apartment upstairs. This entryway shared a wall with the occupied unit downstairs, so Joe thought it was just the echo coming from the downstairs neighbor. However, it started to get louder and louder until he could clearly hear what the man was saying. He was arguing with himself and laughing hysterically. He kept telling himself it was time, only to follow up with a loud and aggressive no. Joe started to get a little freaked out and debated calling the police multiple times, but after about 45 minutes, he stopped and everything was quiet again. Feeling uneasy but too tired to stay up, Joe decided to call it a night early. On this night, Joe's dog was with him. She usually stayed at his parents' house when he wasn't home or when he'd leave at night for his photography work. But since he was off that night, she stayed with Joe the whole day. The two got into bed and went to sleep around 11 p.m. It wasn't until around 4 a.m. that he woke up to the sound of his dog growling. Not a soft growl like when a dog sees a cat. Joe described it as a deep, rough, "I'm gonna tear you apart" kind of growl. He jumped up and went looking for her, and she was in the kitchen facing the pantry. As Joe rounded the corner, he heard the sound of a door slam in the pantry. However, once he got to the pantry, the door was still open. Joe's dog continued to growl and walked into the pantry, pushing on the back shelf. Joe went in after her and turned on the light. He noticed a very small gap between the back shelf and the wall of the pantry. When he pushed on it, it revealed a secret room behind the pantry. Joe's dog tried to run inside, but he caught her before she could go too far. There was a small hallway with a drop-down at the end of it. Joe didn't go inside. Instead, he called the police immediately. They came and he explained the situation. They went downstairs and got Joe's neighbor to open his door. What they found was disturbing. They discovered a large hunting knife and a panel missing from a wall in his closet that led to the room in Joe's pantry. The building owner said it was what was left after the renovation that turned the home into 3 units. Joe moved out that week. Story 2. Shortly after moving into their new home, a Utah couple found something that wasn't included in the listing for their house. That might sound exciting, but what they found was anything but. The couple stumbled across a hidden room in their house, and it looked exactly like a torture dungeon. The couple found the entryway to this hidden den behind a pretty average-looking bookcase in a room that appeared to be just an ordinary lounge. The wife noticed that the bookcase positioned against the wall looked off, so she decided to try and move it elsewhere. This was when she realized that the bookcase was actually secured on and was disguising a secret door that the couple had no idea existed. The room wasn't included in the listing, nor mentioned by the realtor or the previous owners of the home. The woman shared pictures on Reddit showing the stages of her opening the bookcase before revealing the creepy room lurking behind the wall. The image taken relies strictly on the flash from the phone's camera, but it shows the concrete room containing one random fold-out chair sitting in the middle of the room. Various other objects can be seen around the space that led Reddit users to speculate that the room could have been used as some kind of torture room or even as a bunker for a killer. Of course, Reddit and the internet in general will always come up with wild theories. While finding this room in your house would definitely be a bit creepy, there's no proof the room was ever used for malicious purposes. The couple later turned the room into a mini-gym. However, a much more mysterious Reddit post, shared in April of 2019, shows a picture of an entrance to a hidden room in someone's house. The only difference here is that the Redditor who posted this never made a follow-up post or uploaded any pictures of what was beyond the door. The Redditor who shared this found a creepy-looking door hidden in his basement. And what made it extra weird was that there was a big metal shelf purposely blocking the door, as if to deter anyone from entering. The Redditor claimed it was done by the previous owner. The post contained no additional info, but what makes this whole thing stranger was that this was the last post ever made from this Reddit account. This was a pretty active Reddit account before this post. Because of this sudden disappearance after this already mysterious Reddit post, some people speculated that the person did in fact enter the room and found something in there, something that may have led to his disappearance or death. People have tried to find out more details about the Redditor, to find out where he lived and find any possible news articles relating to disappearances, but there has been no luck. For now, whatever happened here remains unknown. Story 3. This next one comes from viewer Malad Hussein, who's a father of a teenage girl currently in military school. Recently, Malad had been cleaning out his house with his buddy Jacob, and suddenly, out of nowhere, Jacob started yelling for Malad, saying that he found a small hidden door in his daughter's room. Malad had permission from his daughter to clean her room before doing so. He was shocked to hear the words hidden door, and so he ran to his daughter's room and found Jacob in the closet. There, Jacob found a secret doorway which, once opened, led to a stairway that led to a basement area that Malad had no idea of. His landlord never told him about it. Malad included this image of the stairs leading to the small basement. Once they got to the basement, they found themselves in a small room with a horrid smell, so horrid, in fact, that the two men considered leaving the basement altogether. Inside the basement was a small table covered in weird dark red stains with a big book, a total of 28 pens that had no ink left, and a mountain of trash with an old laptop on the table. The two men wondered if someone used to live down there a long time ago, simply based on how old the laptop was. Malad then decided to look inside the book, and he was heavily disgusted by its contents. There were writings of somebody's plans to brutally slaughter the bullies from school, and he recognized the handwriting as his daughter's. One short passage in the book read, "Goodbye, world, goodbye. There's nothing in this world. I'm useless. I have a Glock in my hand while writing this. I will pull the trigger anytime soon. I'm slowly destroying myself. Help me." On another page of the diary, there was a note that said, "I will rip Blank into shreds and drown her in her own blood. I have no remorse for what I'm doing. I am aware that I'm going to murder someone who caused me pain and shame for the past 9 years. You will regret it. Say hello to my new weapons." The third image from the diary he attached was a diagram of her school and her plan on targeting it, and her bullies with her friend, who was experiencing the same issues as her. Unfortunately, all the images were pretty blurry. I'd say it's safe to assume Malad confronted his daughter after finding these notes. We are now at the end of the video. If you liked these stories, make sure to subscribe and leave a feedback in the comment section. We will see you soon in the next video.